Yo, what's up, Green Blood fans? This is Raphael from C Manga, and I'm here to give you a review of Chapter 23, Final Moment. And yeah, today was a short chapter. It was pretty much, an aftermath or a conclusion to what happened in the last few chapters. If you guys remember, the whole war ending in the 5 points between the Green Bloods and the Iron Butterflies. And it's quite depressing because G. McDowell basically comes to an end in this chapter, and he's pretty much forced to take all the blame for what happened. So they more or less hang him, and it was really, quite depressing because of all the effort and pain and everything this guy has basically taken and put into trying to make the 5 points a better place. So yeah, majority of this chapter is basically him having abuse thrown at him by the public, blaming him for that. We also see that the police have been enforced to clean up any gravediggers that are still alive, and they were going around killing them all off. We even see one guy begging for his life, saying he wasn't even part of the war, and they shot him point blank in the head. Didn't even care. It's like, as long as they're a gravedigger, regardless, they're gonna kill them. So later on, we see this guy. He's unnamed, so I actually don't know who he was, but he has a grave digger's tattoo as well, and he's come stumbling into the infirmary where Brad and Luke were being held alongside with Emma, and he's basically cursing the doctor, saying that he needs to be healed. Come and check this wound. And then as soon as he comes in, he's like, "Oh crap, the gravedigger," because he sees Brad in there, and he's like, "Oh, don't glare at me," It's just like we're on the same side. Said they're hunting all vermin down after like us after what happened, and he basically explains that the boss, G. McDonald, basically took all the heat, and they dragged him away basically to be hung. And he's saying that the freaking coward Kip he sung has basically ran off and gone hiding underground somewhere. And it's like, really, this town's just basically a dead town now to him. He's saying, and all because that guy showed up to 5 points, and he's like, he's the one who brought the Gatling gun into this town. And Brad's like, "Who's this?" And he's like, he basically says that he gave Kip a month ago, saying that he had something interesting he wanted to talk to about, and he played Kip like a puppet master, basically used him. He was the one, as we know, that gave him the Gatling gun. And yes, he basically proceeds to tell him, gets dragged out, and he says it was Edward King, and that's basically fired up Brad. His eyes have opened up, and he's like, "Oh my, like him." So yeah, that was something I was expecting. He's gonna find out that Edward King came to this town, and it seems like he's either gone now and left the town, or he's still about somewhere. So yeah, later we go back to seeing G. McDonald, and he's basically being cursed. Everyone's saying kill him, hang him, everything. The Iron Butterflies leader comes, and he says, "Oh, so what, have you come to gloat now to just see this?" And he's like, the Iron Butterfly leader's like, "I've just come to print this into my mind, for as long as I can." He's basically gloating over this, and G. McDonald basically accuses him, saying, "Oh, so he's saying it's technically your fault, seeing as you were the one who dealt with Edward King and Kip." He's saying, "I know it was you that got the ask him to come and bring the Gatling gun, things like that, and you basically orchestrated this war." And he obviously denies it, but he's saying what he doesn't really care at this point. He's like, even a piece of crap like you obviously holds this place dear to your heart. So he's like, "I'll leave everything with you." And he says the only regrets he really had was that he couldn't change Edward King into someone better, that he couldn't contain him, and he turned into this arsehole of a person, this monster. He regrets that he couldn't make his son Kip a better person to stand on his feet, own 2 feet, and not be such a frigging coward. And the final regret he had was raising up the Grim Reaper, so basically turning Brad into this monster, this killing machine. But as he's thinking this, Brad and Luke are in the crowd, and they turn up, and it's like, he's obviously upset about this, but he kind of smiles, like, because obviously he has some sort of hope for them. And Brad in his head thinks he doesn't hate him or have any ill will to him. It's like, if it wasn't for him, he wouldn't have been able to grow up to become this strong guy that he is now. And he said he wouldn't have the tools and strength he needs to go and take on Edward King. So with that, Gene basically asked for his forgiveness, even though Brad he didn't have anything to forgive it as far as he seems, because he doesn't hate him for that. And yeah, he's hung, and that was pretty much that was it for him. And what was sad was at the end of the chapter, they even say that his corpse was left to rot in public for the last like 7 days, and then they eventually buried it like in this place called Greenwood Cemetery. And it's like they didn't even put a tombstone with anything etched into it, because it's like they didn't want him to have any fame or anything associated with his name. So it was just left unmarked, like he wasn't like nothing, no sort of any influence to the place in 5 Points. So it was just like, you know what, this guy's trash, and he's been erased from history. So yeah, that place is really is just scumbag territory with all the corruption in there. And someone like him, after everything he's done, he's just basically been killed off and written off from history, and everything he did. And this other Iron Butterflies guy now has come along, and it's like he's just gonna take all that for himself, and that Edward King's just sodded off somewhere, and his son's just freaking run away like a coward. So I can see Brad is definitely, as I said in the last one, I thought maybe he's gonna go after his dad, and this seems like this is what's gonna happen. That's the goal is still the same. He wants Edward King's head. So yeah, definitely a good chapter. I can't see what happens next. And once again, artwork is amazing. I know I keep saying this, but like there was like 2 single page panels, and the detail of the drawings was just amazing. So the guy needs to give himself a pat on the back. Really is a good artist. But yeah, enough about that. What do you guys think? Did you enjoy it, and what do you expect to happen next, other than Brad going after his dad to try and kill him? And if you like this, leave us a like to help us out and the series, and subscribe for more content in the channel, and I'll speak to you guys in the next chapter.